Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to our presentation tonight. We are going to hear from our great admin, Mr. Eldred and Ms. Blackwood, about school safety and digital safety as well. We're going to start off with Ms. Blackwood, who's going to talk about our school safety. This is being recorded, so if you have to leave or you want to show it to a friend, we will get it out to you later this week. Off to you, Ms. Blackwood. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I'm going to start us off with a almost 5-minute video, what we show our kids in their period 3 class. They watch this the first few weeks of school, and it's just kind of highlights our school safety procedures and different things that your students and you should both be aware of. So I'm going to play this for you. Here we go.
The following presentation will train students to respond. During this presentation, we will discuss procedures for an earthquake, fire, soft lockout, hard lockdown, and active shooter. We need to train and practice so that we know how to react, when to run, and how to hide until law enforcement arrives. Why is practice important? When there is an emergency, you may feel nervous, have an increased heart rate, feel scared, zone out, or be unable to focus. It is normal to have these feelings during an emergency or dangerous situation as your body goes into fight or flight mode. The more we prepare and train, the more calm you will be, the more likely your body will respond properly while under stress, and the more likely you will be to stay safe. Here are some tips to help prepare for emergencies on campus. Have a plan. Practice. Be prepared, stay calm, and listen. It is important to remain calm and follow directions from the adults on campus. What should I do in case of an earthquake? We need to drop, cover, and hold on to something. If you're outside, move away from all buildings. Listen to adults' directions. When the tremors stop, get ready to evacuate and line up at your designated area on the stadium field. What should I do in case of a fire? An alarm will sound. You must evacuate the building to your designated area on the campus perimeter and listen to the closest adult. If there is a fire during brunch or lunch, line up with your previous teacher. What should I do if I see something suspicious? If you see something, say something. Report what you know to a trusted adult, your parents, or law enforcement. What should I do in case of a soft lockout? A soft lockout means that there is a potential threat in the vicinity of campus. Close and lock classroom doors. Remain calm and continue instruction. Students who are outside or in the restroom must return to their classroom immediately. Listen for the all clear over the PA system. What should I do in case of a hard lockdown? This means that there is a potential threat involving intrusion and/or police action. During a hard lockdown, you must close and lock all doors. Close the blinds or curtains and turn off the lights. Move away from any windows. Remain calm and pause instruction. Do not let anyone in the classroom. Students who are outside or in the restroom should quickly go to the nearest classroom. If it is not possible to go to a classroom, hide and stay out of sight. Use run, hide, and fight strategies as appropriate. Listen for the all clear over the PA system. Why train for an intruder? An intruder is a potential threat on campus, including an active shooter. Know how to react, know when to run, learn how to hide, and know what to do when law enforcement arrives and what to expect. Where should I run? Run as far from the intruder as possible, like a local business, local church, a friend or family's house, or your home if nearby. Where should I hide? Lock the door and do not let anyone in. Barricade the door with heavy furniture. Cover windows, turn off lights, silence your cell phones, sit or lie on the floor and remain silent. How should I evacuate due to an active shooter? Leave your personal belongings, think about an escape route, and help others if possible. Run until you are in a secure place to hide. Keep your hands visible and your fingers apart.
And I guess that's the end of that. There we go. So that was, I thought there was more to that. I don't know why that didn't happen. Well, there was just an ending part about, thank you for joining us and that kind of thing. So, hmm. All right. So that was our video that we showed our students, just making sure that they understand um, what to do in case of an emergency. Just so you know, we do have 2 fire drills, 2 soft lockouts, 2 hard lockdowns, and an earthquake drop, cover, and hold and evacuate to the stadium field. And I wanted to show you a disaster preparedness. Um, Here we go. In the event of a disaster or emergency that takes place during the school day, please follow these procedures to help keep everyone safe and expedite reunions between students and caregivers. This was created by the district for our parents, and you've probably seen this. I believe they sent it through Parrot Square, and it's also posted all over our school. But they're just some procedures for communication, how we will reach out to you through Parent Square if there's an emergency, and asking you what to do next, and just letting you know the situation. Um, we also have pickup procedures, and I'm going to show you the space on our emergency map where to pick up your student. And I'm going to talk a little more about that in a moment. But they said that in the event of emergency, walk to school if possible, be aware of traffic jams and road hazards. Do not park in front of the school on Fremont Avenue because it's congested a lot of the times. No double parking or stacking. Students must be picked up from the stadium field at the Meridian Gate, and I'm going to show you exactly where that is. Students may also be released to an authorized adult. You have to show an ID when you come to collect your child. So please make sure that you're thinking of that in case of an emergency. But how you can help: follow the directions, ensure that the contact information in Aries in the parent portal is correct. That's probably one of the most important things, because those are the numbers we're going to be calling for you to come to collect your child if need be. Update your emergency information in Aries also. And maybe have a plan with your own student, like talking about, well, if there's an emergency, I'm going to do this, and we're going to like work together on this, make a plan together like you would at your own home. And then, of course, reminding your student to stay calm and listen to the adults at school. We're here to help. And so the evacuation map looks like this. And so what happens if we have to evacuate at school, the students will cross over Diamond Street into the stadium. And you can see that all of the classroom numbers are here. And they report to their 4th period teacher. So just one spot that they have to memorize. And we're going to practice this on October 17th at the Great Shakeout day. And so you could see here that the students will walk through a couple different areas through different gates, so it's all spread out and not congested. But when it's time to leave, or if they have to go home with anybody, if anybody comes to collect them, we have the student release area, and this is off of Meridian. So you would walk through where you would go if you were coming to a football game. And then in this student release area, there will be a table and some adults from the main office who will help you to release your student from school so you could collect them and take them home in case of an emergency. So this is all planned out, and like I said, we're practicing this very soon. And then the other thing to understand is that at our school, we have 4 AEDs in case of heart failure, and they're scattered around the campus. And we also have close to 30 Narcan for drug overdose. They're also situated in different parts of the school. Every building has Narcan just in case there's an emergency with an overdose. And everybody's been trained on campus to use it in case of an emergency. So I think that's pretty much it. We wanted to show you the safety video, talk about our drills. We just had a very successful fire drill. It took us 4 minutes to evacuate the school. So that's a good sign. Everybody knows where to go. And we just want to make sure that the parents understand where to pick up their children in case of an emergency like that. So thank you, Kristen. That's what I have for everybody concerning safety.
Thank you. I just have a few questions. I figured I'd do those now, and then we'll move over to Mr. Eldred.
Sure.
Uh, is there a disaster kit on campus? I know we had one when we were at Marengo.
Oh yes, so we have all sorts of kits. Every classroom has a red go bag, and they're stocked with all of the necessary things, including, first aid kits, gloves, flashlights, light sticks, a power bar, um, a whistle. We have all sorts. And then we also have a giant emergency bin at the stadium that is stocked as well. And we have helpers all around the campus who know exactly where these items are.
Okay, awesome. That's all I have. Is there? Oh, here we go. Do we know how do students know how to access Narcan, or must they rely on an adult?
There is a sign on every classroom that has Narcan in it that says exactly where it is, like the cupboard inside the door. Very specific information, so anybody could find it.
Fantastic. This is great information. Thank you so much. Now we'll pass it over to Mr. Eldred to talk about digital safety.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So part of our push for safety on campus is to include all aspects of student life. So not just things that they would run into as far as fires, natural disasters, other incidents that we hear on the news all the time that we hope will never happen, that we train for, but also for their own safety on social media. So I'm going to take you through a presentation that we have given to every single student on campus. We just wrapped that up today. We did individual presentations with freshmen in their study halls, with seniors in their English class, and then we had an assembly today for the sophomores and the juniors. The reason why we did specific breakout presentations of this for freshmen and seniors is because last year, this is where we saw some of the most egregious offenses on social media. And so that's sort of what led us to putting together this presentation and then informing students of the new district guidelines that exist that surround social media. These were sent out to parents. I can't remember when I sent it out, but it feels like almost a month ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago or so. But all parents should have already received the new guidelines that outline what we are asking students to be aware of and to follow when it comes to social media. Okay, so here we go. Let's move to the first slide. I'm not going to read everything to you and take you through my whole spiel that the kids get, but the bottom line is we started with the idea of basic online safety and the fact that nothing is anonymous anymore, no matter how much students believe that they should never share any information about themselves, where they go to school, how old they are, what sports they play, and where they live, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, unless this is with people that they absolutely trust. Students like to think that they are anonymous, but it's too easy these days to get information on anybody that you want to, if you're just willing to work hard enough for it. Okay, next slide. So the accountability piece that really we're pushing with our students is to pause and think carefully before they text or post. This is something that I've been talking about with students since I became an administrator over a decade ago, which is the idea in the future, you really need to pause and think before you do something. Think just for 3 seconds before you do this, what could possibly go wrong? And when it comes to social media, one of the things that the admin team likes to share with students is the idea of, would you say this to this person's face? If the answer is no, then you already know you should not be texting it and you should not be posting it. Absolutely flat out. Because when people do text or post things that they're not supposed to, it's generally something designed to hurt someone's feeling, to embarrass them, to shame them, to out them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that is what we are trying to avoid. Next slide. So the next thing we took the students through was a definition of cyberbullying. And the second bullet is really sort of key. It's creating fake accounts, texting or posting threats of any kind, creating fake images of someone, sending images to someone that present a danger to that person or to others. And in all honesty, really anything that prevents kids from wanting to come to school, that gets in the way of their social, emotional well-being, that impedes their education in some way. And one of the things I tried to, really impress upon the kids is that the consequences of doing these things can be life-changing and severe. And I don't think a lot of kids really understand what that means. And so what I explained to them over the last few weeks is that, state law and the district has finally caught up with you and your phone and your social media. And the consequences for doing some of these things that are included in that second bullet really are severe. Like I told the kids today, if you don't pay attention to this and you do some of these things, you could find yourself in an incredible amount of trouble. Administrators are really good at, trying to help students understand their mistakes and how to grow from them. And a lot of the times, if we are able, we can find a way to run some interference for them and really try and help the discipline fit, the action. With this stuff, that all is sort of thrown out the window. The consequences are immediate, they are severe, and there's really not a lot we can do to save kids from some of the really poor decisions that they make. Another thing we really try to impress upon them is the idea if you see something, you should say something, just like Vanessa was talking about earlier, something that's inappropriate, something that may harm others, something that may shame somebody or out them. All of this stuff can be brought to our attention so that we can help figure out who posted it and why and get to the bottom of it. Really, more than anything, put a stop to it. Okay, next slide. So the next two slides concern California Ed Code. And the reason why I have these things highlighted is because if students are going to read anything, they're going to read what I highlighted. And so I would pause during our presentations and really ask them to spend some time reading number 2 and number 3 about creating a credible impersonation of someone or creating a false profile. Because the way things are now is, let's just say, for example, a student creates an image of another student, and they think it's funny and they send it out to 130 of their closest friends. When we pull that student in, a lot of the times they will tell us almost immediately I was just kidding. It's just a joke. You can tell by looking at this image I generated, it's not them. And and this is where it gets really quiet during the presentation. Well, kids are generally quiet when I'm in the room anyways, but the reason why it gets really quiet is because I let them know it doesn't matter anymore what you say it is. It's the person on the receiving end. If the person on the receiving end believes that that image is them, it is them, full stop. And discipline begins from that point. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what your parents say. It doesn't even matter what your lawyer says. And yes, we get lawyers. If the student on the receiving end believes that it is them, it is them. A credible impersonation means if that student believes that it is them. And the same thing is true of a false profile. If you create a web page about another student and it's supposed to be a joke, and you can say, look, it's not really about them. They don't play this sport. They don't live at this address. It does not matter anymore. The Ed Code is very specific. This is considered cyberbullying. What is even scarier is on the next slide, and that is cybersexual bullying. And I really impress upon the students, you really need to read this closely, because this is what got 7 students expelled from Beverly Hills Unified last year. And it's also one of the reasons that we are in the place where we are now with California Ed Code, with the district creating guidelines. This stuff is serious. It's not funny. It creates a tremendous amount of harm for whoever it's directed at, and it takes a lot of work to unwind and to make that student feel safe and supported on campus if they choose to return. And we've already had something very close to this last year, which was really what prompted Dr. Yance and myself to really begin to put our heads together and to think about the fact that we really need some guidelines for students in the district to help them understand just how ugly and how pervasive this sort of thing could be if we don't start educating students about it now. So on the next slide, one of the things that I point out to kids is that you may think that I don't have any jurisdiction over what you text or post, and a lot of students believe like if I post something or text something, it's Saturday at 1 a.m. from my bedroom, there's nothing that Mr. Eldred can do about it. Well, you would be wrong. Because now I do have jurisdiction over that if it is going to harm someone. So like it says there, if your actions on social media, regardless of the time of day, day of week, or physical location, when you hit send or post, creates a school disruption, an unsafe learning environment, or negatively impacts someone's emotional well-being and really makes it impossible for them to come to school, you're going to find yourself in an incredible amount of trouble. And there's not a lot we can do to save you from yourself because the state law is very, very clear. Ed code is very clear. So it could run everything from behavior contracts and restorative actions all the way up through expulsion from the school. And really, all I'm asking kids to do is think and pause. If it's really something that you would not to say to someone's face, it is something that could quite possibly, at a minimum, get you suspended, but quite possibly expelled from the school. And if it's really dangerous, expelled from the school district. It's really just not worth it. I also tell kids that, you need to understand that, whenever you meet somebody, what's the first thing that everybody does? They do a deep dive on their Instagram, oh, he asked me out. Well, they'll know that all, your friends are going to say, well, let's look at his Instagram. What kind of a person is he? Your social media post can tell you a tremendous amount about someone. And I also let kids know that, your future wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, they may be looking at this stuff. I also let them know if you think that your first job after you get out of college isn't digging into your social media, you would be wrong because most companies are doing it these days. And for certain, colleges are, because they're not going to admit the kid that thought it was funny to post a bunch of racist stuff to his Instagram back when he was a sophomore. You're just not getting in. So again, real life repercussions that if people don't think or pause can actually have long-term effects for them. And we basically wrapped up by asking kids to be kind, to think twice before they hit send or post, and really just to be responsible to themselves and to their school and to their fellow Tigers. And that's the full presentation. So that's what kids got. You didn't get all the jokes and the funny stuff, but you got all the serious stuff.
We wanted the jokes and the funny stuff, though.
Yeah.
So I think just to reiterate, I mean, thank you so much for doing this. One of the best things I think you said in one of our PTA meetings was parents are so involved in their schools, their
academic and athletics life. Yeah,
but not their online life. And so I do want to let everybody know that next month in October 28th, I think, the Monday, we are going to have a speaker come talk to parents about this. Her name is Emily Churkin. She is the author of The Screen Time Solution, a judgment-free guide to becoming a tech-intentional family. She's been featured on Today's Show, Good Morning America, BBC, as well as the Washington Post and the New York Times. She's going to talk for 45 minutes with a 15-minute Q&A about how as parents, we can be more intentional about being involved in our children's screen lives like we are in their education and curriculars. So that came straight from your mouth to my figuring it out. And The great thing is,
Yeah.
she actually is someone my sister knows. So we were able to get a really good deal on her.
Great.
So
We like good deals.
we love good deals because we don't have a lot of money on PTA. So she's going to come next month. So we're very, very excited.
Good. I'm hoping we get a lot of parents for that one, because it is true. A lot of parents, they are completely oblivious to what their students' social media life looks like. And when they end up in the office because of something a student posted, they are shocked a lot of the times. Their first reaction is to defend their student. I mean, who wouldn't? But a lot of it really truly is the stuff that we run up against is indefensible. And not to say that, we have a tremendous amount of this sort of stuff, but it's there. We deal with it.
Yeah. And like you say, sometimes they just think it's funny. It's just not.
Yeah.
In addition to, I forgot, I left this out. So we're doing this, the presentation next month in collaboration with the middle school PTA, because I know the parent ed person over there, and she and I decided that this was, stuff that they needed to start listening to too. They're coming to the high school. The middle school's already doing the phone stuff. And then the middle school PTA is going to host, which parents at the high school can also attend, a book club around Emily Churkin's book. So after she presents, we're going to, I mean, she's not getting any extra money. I mean, she'll get the money from the book, but we're not really like selling her stuff. But we thought it would be great to do a book club based on that book and then have parent discussions afterwards as well. So Heather Bland over at the middle school is going to lead that. And hopefully that'll get some good feedback and talk around the parent groups too. And, even if you only get 10 people, maybe those 10 talk to 10 others and it keeps going down the line. So that's our hope. So, I don't see any questions in the chat, but if anybody does have a question, you want to raise your hand, please, we'll give you a second, or write something in the chat and I can ask.
Someone asked if this presentation is given to all students throughout the district. Yes, just in different forms.
Oh, I did have one question. I know when you originally sent out the data, the information, you said the students were all going to sign that they heard this information, and they're still doing that.
Yes, so we're going to send that out tomorrow, and then we're going to ask math teachers at some point during the week to devote 5 minutes so kids can sign on and acknowledge that they've heard the presentation. For seniors, you can't have a senior privilege card unless you get one, or unless you don't get one unless you sign off. We're thinking maybe you don't get a homecoming ticket unless you make sure that you have signed off on this as well, since that's probably our largest attended event. That'll get us a lot of buy-in. Most kids, because it's South Pass, they'll just do as we ask them to do, and they'll acknowledge that they have it. But we're keeping it on file, so eventually you're going to be a senior, whether it's next year or in 3 years. And if you want that senior privilege card, you're probably going to have to sign.
Is this something you're planning on doing every year?
Yes, we're going to be doing it every year, specifically just for freshmen. After this, we got the whole school now done. So now we're going to do just freshmen from here on out.
Okay. And if any children were out sick today or something like that and missed the presentation?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're doing a makeup or anything like that, but we'll have hit most people. And more than likely, probably what we'll do is we'll share it one more time with the community. And then that way we can say, hey, you can go back and look at it. It's on Parent Square. Most kids aren't opening my Parent Square, I'm pretty convinced, but if we need them to, we can have them access it right then and there.
Well, my son was sick and I told him he was going to have to watch it afterwards. I didn't now, but I said, you're going to watch it after. So especially since I'm leading this right now. So, well, great. Thank you so much. And again, like I said to everybody, this is recorded, so I will get it out up on YouTube, and we'll get it out in Mr. Eldred's Friday email and the PTSA's newsletter next week. So thank you all for coming. We really appreciate all your work. Thanks for helping our kids.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night.